But there is one inspirational story that has especially brought public identity and worldwide attention to monogenic diabetes. It's the story of a remarkable and brave young lady named Lilly Jaffe. Her journey began in February of 2000, only a few weeks after Lilly was born. Lilly was just 1 month old when, during a routine checkup, her pediatrician discovered glucose in her urine. A follow-up blood test confirmed her family's worst fears. Instead of returning home for a cozy nap, baby Lilly was rushed to the hospital to be treated for what doctors then only knew to call type 1 diabetes. The doctor prepared Lilly's parents for a life caring for a child with diabetes, saying, "This changes everything." And indeed, from that day on, Lilly and her family's life were never the same.
From the moment that we brought Lilly home from the hospital, our family, Mike and I, were in a high state of alert. We tested her blood sugar 10 to 15 times a day, even at night, and even several times during the night. We had to analyze everything that she ate or drank in order to give her the proper amount of insulin to cover the carbohydrates. It was like learning another language for us, and it was a new way of life. But over time, even though it was difficult, we accepted kind of a new sense of normalcy in our home.
Over the next several years, Lilly and her family did adjust to what they would call a new normal. Some days were better than others. But very late one night, when Lilly was only 4 years old, trauma struck their family once again.
I woke up to blood-curdling cries, almost groans that I had never heard before. And I turned on the light, and I saw Lilly convulsing with her eyes open wide, with her eyes bulging, her limbs tense, shaking, and I knew this was the day that I had dreaded would come. She was having a seizure that was caused by seriously low blood sugar.
When I had a seizure, I got a really bad nightmare. I felt like this shaking, and I felt my body shaking, and I didn't even know that I had one, but I felt shaking in my body, and I had a bad nightmare, and that's what was really scary to me.
Several months later, Lilly had another frightening nighttime seizure. Her doctor then recommended a change in treatment and prescribed an insulin pump to help stabilize her blood sugars. Again, Lilly and her family adjusted to a new normal. But it was in June of 2006 that Lilly would forge a new direction in her journey, a turn that would change her life forever. Lilly didn't know it then, but she was about to become part of medical history. Her father, Michael, heavily involved in fundraising for diabetes research, was attending a lecture.
Some things are just meant to be. And in June of 2006, we had the annual meeting of the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation's Board of Directors. Dr. Lou Philipson from the University of Chicago was there. I'd heard Lou speak before, and again, he always has wonderful things to say, but it's all stuff, frankly, that I had heard.
And I was discussing the recent events in science which related to type 1 diabetes. And I mentioned in passing, more than anything else, that it was clear to us that the genetics of type 1 diabetes was very important, especially in extremely early onset diabetes. And again, I had never seen a case, nor at that point had I even heard of a doctor who had seen a case other than Hattersley himself.
And I'm thinking, I can't wait for his speech to end because I've got to go, I got to talk to this guy. I mean, now on the other hand, I'm internally thinking, it's probably nothing, but wow, isn't that fascinating?
And after giving that lecture, a gentleman came up to me and said, "I'm Mike Jaffe, and I'm a member of the JDRF here, and my daughter had diabetes at about 1 month of age."
And all of a sudden, his nose and my nose are this far apart, and we lean in, he goes, 1 month. What was her birth weight?
So I can still feel sort of electricity that went up and down because I never expected anyone to say that, really, because of the rareness of the disease.
That next week, Lily's DNA was tested to see if she carried this rare genetic mutation, and her family awaited the critical call with the answer.
I'll never forget, I mean, like it was yesterday, I can remember, when the phone call came, and it was Dr. Philipson, and I'm welling up with emotion. I mean, I've got the biggest lump ever in my throat, and as he's starting to talk and was just starting to open up about, well, the results came in and we've done the sequencing, and I said, Dr. Philipson, let me stop you. And I could barely get the words out, and I'm starting to cry. I said, the person you really need to be telling whatever you're about to say to is Lori.
I picked up the phone. My palms were sweating. My heart was racing. I could barely hold onto the phone. I was so jittery and excited, hopeful, but trying to protect myself from possible disappointment.
And I saw the look on Lori's face, and suddenly she starts to shake and cry, and we're all crying, and it was just this absolutely exquisite, incredible, outrageous moment. Lily had the mutation. We're in the game. We're in the game.
Lily was indeed in the game, and the outcome changed her life as it has now transformed the lives of so many others around the world.
I think really a very clear example of how patients have made a difference is Lily Jaffe. Suddenly her story spread, and a personal story had far more impact than anything that could be done in the conferences or lectures. And I think to see how things have spread and how rapidly America has moved to the very forefront of research in neonatal diabetes and properly treating these patients is an outstanding example of why patients matter.